Hello all, today we're going to talk about an alternate method I use to grow my Cephalotus other than the net pot nylon wick with reservoir method. This method do require a lot more attention to the plants and more frequent monitoring. However, this may be a better solution for those who have a hard time finding the material for the net pot nylon wick method, and is also adaptable to the majority of carnivorous plants you grow that requires watering through the tray method. You might be asking, so what does this have to do with the box of greens that's in front of you right now? Well, this is something that I'm sure everybody's familiar with who shops at the Kroger's or Vaughn's or Pavilions around your neighborhood. This is a 1 pound box of greens, and it is the container that I will upcycle for this project. Here's the container, and what I do is I just punch a bunch of holes on the bottom and some on the sides. And because these are rather flimsy, I just double stack it, like so. And then the bottom half of the container I will fill with perlite. Just visualize that, okay? And then the rest of the container I will pot with my Cephalotus potting mix, which is about equal portions of black gold, natural and organic African violet mix, peat moss, and perlite. But in a system like this, I would increase the ratio to about 60, maybe 50% perlite, 25% peat moss, and 25% African violet mix. A project that looks like this. This is what I would call the colony. To show how large this planting is, we're dealing with, you're looking at 14 inches across by almost 10 inches wide. And one of the observations I am doing with this project is, if you notice, there are decomposing or aging pitchers. This one is yellow. This one down here is also yellowing. Oops, yellowing down here. For the pitchers that are deep into the recesses of this mound of plants, I'm not removing them if they are not diseased, so that as the pitchers decompose, it will form its own humus within this mass. So visualize Cephalotus growing in the wild in a boggy situation, which I'll put a link below from a guy who documents, I think, wildlife and plants in Australia, how some plants do grow in boggy conditions, and Cephalotus often roots along the stem as it's growing. So you can imagine in the wild, nobody's there to remove all the dead pitchers, so all the pitchers, as they grow on top of each other, those below will eventually die and become humus or compost for the mother plant. And that is how this thing is growing. It's been a couple years. And I'll follow up this introduction with some clips and videos of this plant as it was maturing. Now there are many plants in here, it's not just one, because I want to see how multiple plants do in a situation like this. So as I rotate this container around, you'll notice some areas have a lot of growth, some have small growth right here. And what these are, they're not stolons like you would find in your typical Cephalotus, but these juvenile plants are growing from the base of its original plant, from the stem. So if you look, even with the same planting, same lighting, same environment, some plants did better, while others do struggle a little bit. And all the plants in here are the same age. However, not all of the plants start out the same way. Those that are nice, robust, and huge, like these guys over here, they started out as tip cuttings, while others that are smaller started out as propagative leaf and pitcher cuttings. So this growth demonstrates the difference in growth pattern depending on what type of cutting you use to start growing the plant from. Now what you do notice is this is a planting of Cephalotus Hummer's Giant. What you don't notice is massive pictures of the giant form. And even under the best conditions, I don't always get massive giant pictures. I suspect these plants require a lot more fertilizing than what you would suspect a carnivorous plant would need. Now I do fill every one of the pictures you see, which I'll do later, with a quarter strength Maxsea solution with added organic algae concentrate fertilizer. Just a few drops. Now, this is something that I do on a weekly basis. And if you see the container, I have those perforated solid plastic bins sitting in a shoebox, which fits perfectly. And I never fill this more than half an inch of water. And the only time I refill this with water is after all the water's been absorbed by the planting media and the pot, and I see that the bottom of the shoebox is dry, which gives this plant and its roots a chance to get some aeration into the soil and into its roots. So this plant is never sitting in a lot of water for any extended period of time. Now when I'm looking at this plant on the weekly, I'm looking for signs of powdery mildew and any diseased pitchers or dying pitchers that needs to be removed. And if I see a pitcher that looks like this, that's going yellow, or this one down here going yellow, once it's turned brown, I just collapse it so it is closer to the soil surface. And as you can see, it grows along the sides. Okay. So I don't see anything that needs to be taken care of at this time, except to fill all of the pitchers with the solution. And I'll just take a moment to do that. Now let me mention here while we're at it, when I see pitchers that are about to open, I'll give it a gentle squeeze to see if the lids when I see pitchers like this, I'll give it a gentle squeeze to see if the lid will pop open, so I can put the fertilizer into the pitchers earlier. The thought behind that is, the more pitchers you fill up, the more the plant has an opportunity to feed, and the faster it'll grow, and hopefully one day this mass of this colony will develop those massive giant pitchers that the humus giant is capable of producing.